We're going to be out of here very soon. So what has 10 fingers and writes code? A few of you know the answer to this. I'm just going to go with it. This guy. So this is a picture of me in 2002. I just like that I look so happy in this picture. I had the wife beater thing going on. I probably had like 8 cups of oatmeal that day. And I had the Timberlands back when they were a thing. So that's how I looked as a kid. And spoiler alert, this is how I look now. So I'm a recent computer science grad. Compared to the other folks in this group, I don't have a lot of years of experience with software engineering and computer science. I just turned 20 last year, graduated from the University of Baltimore. And I do really appreciate that we have a lot of people in this group who are already established in the software engineering field. And I do have some conversations with them. I can see there's Moses in the session. Hey, Moses.
Yes, Moses. Hi, Vandi. Yes, sorry I joined in a little bit late.
Cool. Shout out to you. And I know Sar, I know Sylvester. So I really like that there's like a platform for new software engineers to communicate with people who are already established in the industry to like get mentorship and stuff. So that's a good thing. And I am currently a software engineer at NASA Suits, and I'm an ex-National Science Foundation intern. And I am also a shameless competitive programmer because I haven't won any single contest, but I still compete anyway. So a little bit about my background. I have a mix of unconventional saloon upbringing and trying to navigate the CS world. I got into tech from a very young age. I remember my mom had this lawyer friend who came to her house one day in the early 2000s, and he was like, Michael, you should go into IT. IT is going to be big. And I was like, all right, bet. So I did go into IT years later. If you grow up in Sierra Leone, you know that they have this little LED lights that you use to study. And they have like batteries and stuff, and you recharge the batteries and put it there, basically lighting up the world. We had a lot of those, and I was a very clumsy kid, so I'd break the lights often. And in fear of my mom finding out about it, I would use my uncle's screwdriver, open it up, and fix the lights. So that was my first kind of like hands-on tech experience. Fast forward a year later, when I was 6 years old, my aunt gave me a toy laptop, one of these bad boys over here. It was the first techie product that I ever had. And I used to spend days trying to figure out the instructions, and it had a lot of children games. So I had to figure out how the games were played. And some days I wanted to make my own games too. And to do this, I'd randomly press keys on the keyboard, pretending to write code as I had seen in movies. I also did this to impress my friends. And after a while of like abusing the keyboard, basically, the laptop crashed. So this was a horrible experience for me as a child, but it did play a very important role in triggering my determination to study computer science. Well, a few years later, my mom got a job at Care International, so she got a work computer, and I was messing around with her personal computer, going to Yahoo and stuff. And I went to the Sierra Leone Grammar School for high school, and there was where I learned how to code. They had an ICT program in the school. It was optional, well, not really optional. You have to take it, but it doesn't count towards your GPA. So a lot of students would just wing it. But then I had a few years of experience with tech, so I would ace some of the classes. And there was basically where I learned how to code. The first program I wrote actually was a C++ program that could tell you if you're eligible to drink alcohol. So it was a simple function that takes in an age variable and then tells you, hey, if age is over 18, print, you can drink alcohol. If age less than 18, you cannot drink alcohol. And that was a very high schooly concern to have. I was around 13 at the time. And yeah, and thinking back about it, it's been so long that I wrote that code and I still cannot drink alcohol legally. So hopefully in the next coming years that would happen. So a little bit about my education. I have a BSc from the University of Baltimore in applied computer science. I'm currently enrolled at the Harvard Extension School. I took one course back in 2019 and I dropped out because a lot of things were happening. I went to Sierra Leone for an internship with the STI, was doing some research. There were a lot of moving parts, but I'm still enrolled. So about my work. I currently work as a software engineer in augmented reality at NASA Suits. I've been on this project since 2019 October, and we do augmented reality stuff. More on that later. I've also finished a 10, no, not a 10-month, a 6-month internship with the National Science Foundation as a GIS intern. I worked on web scraping projects. I worked on GIS projects. I built a continuous integration pipeline for data analysis. Hey, what's going on? Abdullah Soiree, hey, hi. So at the National Science Foundation, I worked on scooter data, last mile transportation. We're basically trying to see how people were using transportation during COVID-19. So where are people going? Are they going to schools? Are they going to bus stations? Just observing transportation routes. And in my junior year, I worked at the Directorate of Science, the STI in Ceylon. I went there as a software engineer intern for the summer, and I've also been doing undergraduate research at the University of Baltimore. So my tech stack, Java is my favorite programming language. That's what I do competitive programming with. Any Java haters out there, I like Java because it's very, very verbose. And you can actually write the names of the data structures, unlike Python and C++. So I know it's not great for competitive programming, but I'm coming. I'm not going to read out the list. And huge disclaimer, I am not an expert in all of these technologies. I've probably taken like one undergraduate course on it and submitted a few assignments, but I think that counts. So it's on my resume anyway. So what am I up to now? The core of my time is spent in the Argos project. So I work on a project called Argos. It's an augmented reality guidance and operation system. So we're building an immersive user interface to help astronauts during EVAs. That's extravehicular activities with things like scientific sampling, rover repair, navigation, all the good stuff. Toolkits, telemetry, all those things. We're monitoring oxygen levels, fan tachometer, suit pressure, all of those things. So NASA doesn't have all the resources to explore every single technology out there. So they tend to outsource that to external teams. And that's where we come in. And I can say a lot about this project actually, because it's open source. Here's the GitHub repository. So check it out if you want to sometime. Here are some screenshots of the UI. I'm actually working on this UI specifically, like the radio menu and all of those things. I'm working on gesture handling, gesture events, light mode, dark mode, automatically switch into light mode and dark mode. That was an exciting project to work on. We're calculating luminous intensity so we instrumentally take pictures of the field of view, and then we get details of that pictures like total internal reflection, brightness, and all of those things, calculate luminous intensity in lux. And when lux is over 80K, we switch to dark mode. If it's less than 80K, we switch to light mode. So these are some of the pictures from Argos. And here I am briefing Dr. Mae Jemison. She is the first African-American woman to go to space. I'm basically just telling her about our project, and she was not impressed. Moving on, about my daily activities. So when I wake up, I coordinate with UI UX engineers for wireframes. I build out UI in 3D space on the Magic Leap one. I coordinate with systems to feed me telemetry JSON with oxygen levels, carbon dioxide, all of those things. So the systems architecture is really huge. We have something called Octavia. So it's 8 nodes that calculate telemetry with, so if someone's, so there's like a threshold of oxygen levels that someone can consume during the day, but that really depends on whether or not you're moving and all of those things. So we have all of those 8 nodes as workers that do all the calculations, and I just get it. So in my opinion, my work with Ergos is actually the simplest. And then I have a ton of meetings, and I also teach algorithms and competitive programming on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're into those kinds of things. Write some code, iterate. We've been working on the project for like 2 years, and we don't really have like a standard prototype yet. And we're also looking for testers. So I'm pleading on the people in this group. If you do have some time, reach out to me at the end of the session if you want to test out our augmented reality system. There are no gifts or anything, so it's going to be a fun experience, I promise you. So please reach out to me if you want to test for us. We'll really appreciate it. And here are some projects that I've been working on over the course of the past years. I won the first place prize at the University System of Maryland's COVID-19 hackathon for a contact tracing app I created using the DP3T algorithm. So how this works is, so we intermittently, so say for example, there are 2 people in an Uber, and while their phone is at rest in the background, they intermittently exchange random strings with each other. And those strings have been sent to like a central database containing all the strings from people. And then if someone tests positive for COVID-19, they can just go on there and say, oh, I've tested positive for COVID-19. And then all the other people can download those strings and match it against the ones that they have locally. And if there's ever a match, you just know that in the last 14 days, you've been in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19, and you can self-isolate. So that way we're protecting users' privacy with no one ever having an idea of where the other person is, who you were with or where you went, basically. Just protecting users' privacy. We're not tracking location. So we had SLinT funding of $3K. We've stopped working on that project because contact tracing is a bit outdated now. There are more things coming on. There's a huge competition in the contact tracing space with like Apple and Google GAEN solutions. There's also a team called PathCheck, and they're doing great with contact tracing. But now contact tracing is a bit outdated. People are working on more recent tech like apps for vaccine delivery and all of those things. I also did an e-learning research in Sierra Leone in 2019. 2019, yeah, I think, yeah, 2019. We were basically trying to investigate the limitations of implementing e-learning environments in developing countries. That project won the first place prize at the University of Baltimore's undergraduate research competition. In 2018, we organized the first TEDx Youth event at Kingdom with a host of speakers. And we did this to inspire and motivate youth and just spur them into action. I'm also working on a project called Flight. We're organizing instant booking for pilots and flight attendants. So we're currently in our beta testing. So if you go to flight-app.com, you can sign up for that. I would talk a bit about it, but I don't want to give out any spoilers. I'm also a volunteer for Microsoft Teals to teach computer science in high school. And Evaluate.xyz is a side project that I was working on in my sophomore year. I had an internship in SF. So Evaluate is a website that recommends 53,000 restaurants in San Francisco to users based on official health inspection scores, direction and reviews from other people, and all of those things. And I have been accepted as an author at the ICES conference this year. It was supposed to be in Portugal, but because of COVID, nothing's going to happen. And I've also written an article for International Journal for Spatial Research. It's currently in peer review, so hopefully in the next year it will be published, and I can share it to all of you guys here. I'll also share the draft in the drive if you guys want to check it out and give me any feedback. My contact information, it's my website, mvandi.com, LinkedIn, all the good stuff, my phone number. So the contact section on my website is unavailable because I'm currently working on migrating from reCAPTCHA version 2 to reCAPTCHA version 3. I don't want to have a lot of spam people contacting me from the website. So that's pretty much it, but the website's up. Everything's working as usual, except the contact portion isn't working. Moving on. I think this is the last slide. So I forgot to say that my goal for this is that someone here would hire me because I'm currently looking for work. I will code for food. So if someone has like a referral or any kind of position at a company for software engineering, I'm down for it. So thank you so much for listening. And yeah, questions? Any questions?
That's awesome. Thank you, Michael. Tamba, you on? Sorry, Tamba, supposed to moderate this. So I'm trying to make
Yes, hello.
Okay.
Hello, I'm here. You know, I've handed this over to you guys, so I'm trying not to miss everything. So I'm doing staycation in New York right now. Every weekend I'm out. But this was definitely great. So I've been listening and touring at the same time.
Cool.
But I don't know what to say, Michael. This is great. We don't have that many of you, especially students within the community that are so passionate. As you were talking about this, you reminded me of sometime last year, I participated in interviewing a bunch of students from Columbia, Cornell, and a couple of other Ivy League universities for Accenture. And when I look at their resumes, and I was talking to some other friends, I'm like, some of these kids, their resumes look like they've been working for 15 years already. How are you going to compete with them? And you are just one of such examples based on everything you've said, because you've worked on so many different projects that you already have a resume that looks like you have 15 years experience. And I think that will go a long way, especially in the software development world. So I will encourage you to continue.
All right.
And like you said, we're all going to work together and see how we can help you land that next position, because that's part of the reason why we are here. If you can land a position, how can we work on a project that can create a position for you so you don't even have to look for one?
I'd appreciate that. Thank you so much. I do know a lot of people here who have been offering mentorship advice to me. I mentioned Moses. There's also Ali right there. There's Sar, and who else? There's Sylvester.
Ernest is another coder.
Ernest. Where's Ernest?
Ernest K.
So I really appreciate this community, and I wish we could grow it to be bigger and then engage in more projects for Sierra Leone. I'm hoping in the long term, my path is going to lead back to Sierra Leone.
So what is NASA Suits?
NASA Suits so NASA doesn't have all the resources. So it's like spacesuit user interface technologies for students. Mm-hmm. So students work on a NASA project so that they can explore other technologies. So we're currently using Magic Leap. There are other teams who are using HoloLens. There are other teams using Oculus. to build immersive user interface for astronauts during EVAs.
Interesting.
It's really a fun project. They just launched like a new suit that has a head-mounted display. The previous suits did not have that, so they're trying to explore the next Artemis mission in 2024, which is expected to put the first woman on the moon by 2024.
Wow, interesting.
Mhm.
And on your research for e-learning in Sierra Leone, what were the most interesting facts that you found out?
Oh my God. So much internet connectivity, administrative intervention. We actually did a survey across FBC, Jella University, not Jella, FBC, IPAM, and there's one more. There's 3 universities. I can't remember the third one, but with like 105 participants with 90 students, 15 instructors. So we split the survey into 3 sections.
So the participant were schools?
It was with universities.
Okay.
Yeah, schools. The first section was trying to get a feel of how exposed they were to e-learning. The next session was trying to introduce them to a simulation that we put out on Google Classroom and then monitor their activity and have them report on how the simulation went. And in session 3, we asked them for feedback, and then we collected all that data. Unfortunately, I haven't got a lot of time to deeply analyze that data. I'm still working on the research, but I made a presentation at my school and it won first place, so, which was awesome.
Yeah, so you've won. You're not just a shameless programmer. You've been winning a lot of things, so that's good.
I am shameless. If you go on Google,
If anything I can add, I have coded, I have written code as a junior developer, senior developer, up to the point of an architect, know multiple languages, but I've never won any award. That doesn't mean it's shameless, right? I just never participated in any awards, right? Because I just didn't have the time. So you don't have to win an award to be the best programmer you can. That's the route for some people, but it's not for everyone. And in fact, one thing I noticed is that some people win a lot of awards, but they don't end up really sticking in, right? Because winning the award is one thing, and staying in for the long run is a whole nother thing. I think if you stay in for the long run, you are better off than winning the one-off award and then making some noise and then you disappear.
I totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah, so no worries about the awards.
Okay, yeah, and let me also add, right, looks like you've done a lot of work and all of that. Congratulations. And to the awards thing, I think what employers are really looking for, if you have awards and all of that, is good, but once you go into the interview, they're going to ask you like practical questions where you have to actually sit down and write code. And from what you've shown, it looks like you have a lot of that already. So I think that's more important than winning any of those awards. Personally, that's what I think.
You're too kind, Moses. Thank you.
Yeah. And also, maybe can you tell us a little bit about the research paper that you published? Because that would also be very helpful also.
Okay, yeah, it's a mixed reality optimization. So while working on the Argos project, I realized that there's a lot of limitations.
Is that the project that involves using the Luminance and all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. So just so we go right, using luminance measurement in cameras and trying to control the camera is actually very, very tricky. That's one of the problems which we have on our drones when we've tried to fly outside, because we have control algorithms that sort of try to control the f-stop and the sort of brightness settings and all that on cameras. With the luminosity and all that, we never get it right. So yeah, so continue.
Ours is very clunky.
Okay.
But it works for like total switching. It doesn't work for partial switching. Okay. So what we're testing is, so the way light changes on surfaces like the moon is it doesn't change from like light to dark. What can happen is like part of the UI would be dark, part of the UI would be light, depending on how the sun is being reflected.
I see.
So what we do is we take pictures of the field of view, and then we get things like, we get variables like total internal reflection, we get the brightness of that image, and depending on the brightness of that image, we can switch the theme to be light or dark. So that's exactly how it works. Yeah.
I see, because I was thinking that maybe you have to think about like shadows and all that. You're going around flying, and then the light in the luminosity changes like a little bit, and then it goes up and all that. Okay,
It does.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
Good work.
Hey, Michael.
Oh, hey, Brian.
Hey, I don't know if Moses can remember this. I feel very proud when you stated that you started your career back at the SLinT Grammar School. Unfortunately for us, we were in SS3 from 6, about to leave school when they had a computer lab, but we never had a chance to use the computer lab. So years down the line, to see somebody who used the computer lab and started his passion for programming, it's a fulfillment for somebody like us, because Moses can tell you that we never had a chance to, we never had computer lab when we were in school, and I think we were about to leave school when they brought those computers in.
Yeah.
And so,
actually, those computers were there. I remember on the 3rd floor, just above the principal's office.
It was never on.
Yeah, it was never on. They were very dusty.
On.
Yeah.
It was called like audiovisual computer and audiovisual lab or something like that.
Yeah.
To add to what Tamba said about competition and programming, I think for me, competition actually looked like a short-term gain, because for me, I'm working at Geico, and Geico being a financial institution, some of our programs are not just written to work for a moment. Like my manager, who is retiring, always talk about how he has written few of our payment system application 20, 30 years ago, and at no point in time had he ever touched the application. Some of them are written in COBOL, some of them are written in Python, which are, you can understand the gap between the programming language. So sometimes if I can write an application today and pass or get an award for it, but probably 6 months into production, there are bugs start evolving, and probably security team, because we are very huge in application security at Geico. So whenever you write a code, the security team has to step in, make sure inspect each line of code, the second phase of code review, to make sure that it's not, you can't easily hack into, because sometimes people can declare a variable and leave it like that, and hackers can easily use those variables to gather information. Those things are not picked up during competition, but when it comes to the corporate world that deals with financial and personal data, it's a huge thing. So I mean, it's a nice mixture to have those long-term programming goal and short-term programming goal.
You're totally right. And competitive programming, all they do is they test your output, and if the output matches what they want, that's it. You pass the test cases. At the grammar school, did you meet Reverend Hastings Payne?
He was there, yeah. He was very young. He was very young. And I also remember, I don't know if Moses can remember.
Oh, Hastings Payne, yes, I remember him, yes.
I don't know if Moses can remember, when we used to do engineering science, there was a time we had this 4-piston engine block to tell us when we are studying about internal combustion engine. So that's how far we came from. And for you guys to be having a computer lab using a computer, that's
yes,
that's a plus to you guys, man.
Yes, and they're doing great things. I see they've expanded the lab, and they have more computers. So that's really awesome.
So did you ever have the opportunity to be in Pinkley William?
Reverend, oh my God, I will give you 9 strokes.
Okay.
It's like 999 strokes.
Okay, maybe this is one thing, right? Let me just make a comment. You know, Mr. Pinckney William was a teacher for engineering science back in 2003, and he's still there. Yeah. When I went back in 2018, I met him. And the same thing which he told me back in 2003, he told me the same thing again. That a lot of schools in Sierra Leone are struggling to actually have technical teachers, like teachers who can teach engineering science, technical drawing, electronics, and all of those. Simply because the government has this policy of, if you come from FBC, that means you don't have you don't sort of have like an education degree. So you are paid lower than somebody from, I think, from MMCET. So that's why if they get, say, for example, an engineering science teacher come to the school, right? After 2-3 months, they would have found job somewhere else, and then they would leave. And it's very hard to sort of maintain those subjects. So for that reason, only a few schools in the country actually are doing those technical subjects. Prince of Wales Grammar School, Government Rokel, and Government Technical. So if anything, those are sort of the things that we should look into at advising maybe either this government or future government, because you can't be serious about technology when you can't have an incentive for teachers, when actually they're actually paid lower than people who are teaching, say, for example, English and literature.
And to move the curriculum from like a theoretically based curriculum to a more practical based.
Yeah.
Oh, this was great, everyone. This was really
And Michael, what was the link for the app, the Flight app again? Is
It's
flight underscore or dash?
flight-app.com.
Okay, I'll share in the group as well. This is awesome. Any more questions?
Excellent. It's good you guys are just talking about grammar school. I hope you know about the new development going up at grammar school right now. I'm aware of a lot of IT-related developments that are going on there. I was working with an Accenture, a Leonean who is an Accenture alumni in the UK, who is leading that project. Last time I spoke to him, they've spent more than $100,000 on that project, like setting up computer labs, and interconnecting the buildings with fiber, and basically trying to start online teaching. Like during COVID, they did some of that, and a lot of other stuff. You probably have seen some. And it looks like they are trying to do a lot in grammar school, and if it works out, they are probably going to be one good example. And Prince of Wales is trying to do something similar as well. So those two schools seems to be trying to do something to lead in that area. And I agree with you, Moses. Those technical subjects, we don't have teachers for them. Today, even when you ask for further math, right? Not even engineering science, just the past paper alone, we are looking for past papers for further math and engineering science, and we can't even find them from teachers at Prince of Wales. But for the other subjects like the literature or the English or the histories or what, you have them all over the place. So that tells you how backward we are when it comes to those technical subjects, and how it would be difficult for us to move forward if we don't have qualified teachers teaching those subjects, and we don't have students that are even interested in them, right? Because they just consider them difficult from the get-go. And that is as a result of not having good teachers, or not having qualified teachers, or not even having the encouragement to do anything in that area. So we can definitely do a lot and change some of that, all of us here. But who knows, right? Let's see. But that's a big gap. I don't think we can move forward without that. High schools are teaching kids now to do a whole lot, right? And we are still nowhere, not even the basics. So we got to do a lot, and we have to do more. And I think each one of us here can play a role in that, one way or the other, either through your school alumni association, or personally with your family, or with friends. But each one of us need to start encouraging young kids, high school kids, those Becker level or senior secondary level, to take technical subjects or to go to schools where these subjects are offered, and help them with whatever you can so they can get their hands to do some practical, and that IT is not for dropout. It's an actual field you can get into, like you want to become an electrical engineer or you want to become a doctor. It's not a dropout thing, right? Because most of those that are here today doing IT in Sierra Leone, it's a fail was, or Becker not able to continue before they go do computer first.
Right.
They go, they do the computer in a corner there, they study for the WAS, and they Becker. And the one way fortunate say the computer go sweet them, and they go before again. In your career. If the computer not sweet them, it go sabi how for use Word and Excel and internet. We pass the WAS, you forget about that, you go back now in normal area.
That is
How do we change that?
You know, and also back in Sierra Leone, the only school in the country area where they do the technical subject now be Muraldo. All the rest, CKC, both school, none of them was doing any of those subjects.
I wanna counterattack against that. I attend CKC, so I know when back I was in school, we were doing computer in school.
No,
maybe recently they just changed that.
No, technical subject like technical drawing and
oh yeah, we did we have technical drawings. Actually, a lot of my electronic experience I picked it up in my class those days back in 2009.
This was 2003, I'm talking
2007.
Yeah. Yeah, you are probably, CKC is probably one of them, and you are lucky. But if you look overall on average, subjects like further math, engineering science, technical drawing, they are not typically offered in majority of the schools. There are very select schools that will take that road. Those three subjects, technical drawing, engineering science, further mathematics, they just don't go, they don't take that road, most of them. Very few. And CKC may be one of those few up in the provinces that's doing it. Because you can't do those things, to be frank, without some practical, right? Yeah. If you want to do technical drawing, I can remember when I went to Prince of Wales, I had this thing they call the drawing board, right? You have that drawing board, you have your compass, all those tools. And we actually had a workshop where you can practice to do those things. Most of the other schools don't have it. So you can't offer the subject if you don't even have a place for them to do it. Same with engineering science, and same with further math. The basic math, you not get better teacher than for them. What about the further math? Has to go make them begin and crazy. Right? Even to get the books, it's not easy. So it's a huge problem. There are a few, like you said, CKC is doing well. They are doing well. I remember, I think Josh is from CKC. They are also building a lab. Yeah, they are trying to put up a lab at CKC as well. Yeah. I'm friends with few people from CKC. So they are the few select in the provinces that are trying to make a difference. I just saw on the internet even a few days ago, there is a school, I think in Kono, Anzaru Islamic. They also just set up like a library and a computer center, something like that. So a lot of schools nowadays, the ministry is encouraging them to set up a computer lab like you used to set up a science lab. Because if you want your students to take the computer science subject in WAS or in Beke, they are encouraging you to have a computer science lab. And a lot of schools are trying to do that right now. It's just that it's difficult for them to do it because you have to think about the electricity, the computers, and then the teacher to do the teaching. But hopefully in the next 5 years, a lot of that could change. And each one of us, I think, can play a part. We can play a role in making a difference.
Tamba, also just want to remind you that CKC is the only rural college of the South. So you guys need to know that. And back to Michael. Michael, I like your introductions and I like a lot of things that you've done. I don't know, I came in late. I think I was trying to figure out that I was not be able to, didn't see a lot of use cases. You state a lot of things, and based on some of the programming languages you have, which is really good. But looking at that from an employer standpoint, to me it seemed like you are all over the place. And so also since I don't know if you are currently in the job market or maybe you currently have a job, if however you are in the job market, the thing you gotta be look for a company that you think you want to go into and start gearing yourself towards what are some of the programming language you're using, and just try to focus on one and try to be really good at that and try to have use cases on that particular programming language you want to be really good at. And so when you interview, because sometimes they just need a click. Once they know this is where you're good into, then they're gonna call you no matter what.
You're totally right. That is actually great advice. I think it's a testament to the computer science curriculum in the US. They tend to teach you a lot of things. They just introduce you to stuff. Intro to Java, intro to Python, intro to this. Everything is an introductory course. So.
You're definitely right. I know, because when I first came to the job market, also about 14 programming languages that I had put that on my resume. I'm like, my first job, I literally didn't do anything of those programming language. I have to learn a new language for what I was doing. So you're definitely right. At US school, you have to do all of this Java, script, this, that, just, I don't know why they're doing that. I mean, also it's important because once you know the basic foundation of all of those programming, different languages, different script, wherever you find yourself, you're gonna succeed. If you want to focus on one, you're gonna succeed because everything is just, you have the basic foundation on everything, so you can manage and navigate.
And if I can add on to that, beside the programming languages, in my line of work, what I see more, I typically don't care about the programming language too much. The first thing I care about is what part of the stack do you work in? Are you on the front end side of the stack? Are you on the back end side of the stack? Are you a middleware guy, right? Because we break it down like that, especially in enterprise. We have people who are specialized in the front end. We have people who are specialized in the back end. We have people who are specialized in the middle. It's not likely for you to find someone who is specialized in all three. And even if you find someone who is specialized in all three layers, who will typically consider themselves a full stack developer, it's not likely that they will be playing the role of a full stack developer on a given project. They will always be playing one role. Either you are on the front or the back or the middle.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself playing all roles, then you have probably graduated to like a junior architect or a senior architect or a developer lead who needs to be aware of everything going on in every part of the stack. So try to focus on, for a start, especially for entry-level jobs, try to focus on one stack. Say, I want to be on the front end or the back end or the middleware. And then when you look at the front end, for example, look at what are the programming languages or the frameworks that are leading in that area right now or that are the most popular. Pick one of those, focus on it, nail it down, and that could be your entry point. And once you get into one corporate company, you start with that. The other ones are going to come natural.
Yeah.
And then you can start spreading your wings from there. Because when I'm looking for someone, that's how I look, right? I always look, what part of the stack do you belong to? And then in that stack, what frameworks are the most popular that are used out there today, or that this company wants to use, or that I am proposing to use as an architect? And do you have experience in that framework or in that programming language? And based on that, I start to narrow down.
I think I'll have to focus on.
So yeah, I guess let me just say something. I've been in the background trying to observe. I'm one of your YouTube fans. You don't even know me, but sadly, yeah. But I've been following your talk, and it's very enlightening. And I like that you are challenging those interview questions and trying to break it down. That's something you should continue. And when it comes to award, you can get yourself an award from Code Wars. You can challenge yourself with actual, problems. It's not like these are use cases that you can sit and play with and see how you can optimize your algorithms. So if you want to self-grade yourself, I think that's one way you can improve yourself. And a lot of what has been said is completely true. When I finished university and started working, I used 10% of what I studied at my first entry year. So it's not the quantity of knowledge you have, it's the quality. And you can be good in all those programming language, but I've not seen any developer who uses all those programming language to solve a problem.
Yes.
So just you have to answer it yourself. Are you going to use all those languages? It's good to know. Even in those languages, there are some, there are different stages in the language itself. And, if you try to handle all those languages at once, it's good if you are capable, but I would rather for us, what others are saying, to focus on few languages. If you want to be on the web, then there are key languages which are useful for that direction. If you want to be a full stack, maybe they are different. If you want to work with augmented reality as you're doing, there are different languages. And to be honest with you, have been in this also for a decade now. And I'm telling you, we all started with Java, some of us. We knew Python and other languages, but it depends to the job market. If your employer require you to write in Python, if you come from a Java, but there are certain skills that they see in you, they are not going to employ you because of Python. They are employing you because of how they trust and believe that you can use your Java skills and write Python code. So that's how it works in the real world. But I understand you just come from, you're a fresh grad and you want to acquire a lot of skills. You know, it's common. We've all been there. But you just need the right mentorship. And to be honest with you, you're very lucky in this group. At your age, you acquired a lot. And you just need the right tailoring and the right mentorship, in my opinion. You'll be fabulous and fantastic in your years to come. And I'm telling you, even Facebook, all those big four, they are not looking for someone with a lot of programming language skills. That's the programming language. If you want to get a job, start solving your own problems. You started with the restaurant thing. Continue it. You can start from the web, you take it to the mobile direction, just focus on one project. And in the project, you have different layers. You have security, you have authentication, you have data management. So software itself, you've learned that it's not just a simple thing. It's when you see Facebook and Amazon, they have a team. When I say team, hundreds of developers, and they are focusing on different domains. And you should picture yourself, you will not be employed to cover all those domain areas. You will be either a front end, even the full stack, they have limitations. But within the full stack, or even within the front end world, there are a lot of things you can learn, a lot of things you can acquire. And so you have to limit your scope based on your vision, like what you want to be best in. First of all, the algorithm is fine. Doing object-oriented programming, it's key. And but now we're talking about functional programming. There are new types of programming that are coming in the market. You have a multi-platform way of programming, so that you share code between business logic within your platform. So there are a lot of things out there. So even there are machine learning scripts that rewrite code for you. Like you train the machine to create website for you. These are projects which are already undergoing testing. It's not there. What's his name? Sorry. So you just have to scale down and slow down. And I will recommend you to do more open source as you're doing. And they are like, during the Advent season, you have like 30 days of coding where you get real coding questions daily basis, that you just to be with the community. You can pick any project you like, even if it's duplicates or it's already existing. It's for you to get the whole idea of from inception all the way to deployment. So you just have to build that building block with the old foundation in you. So trust me, with your motivation and perseverance, the way I see, I've been following in the background. And even I don't know if Patrick have reached out to you, but I told Patrick about you, and he saw your channel. And I'm trying, I told him, if there's any vacancy, even in Facebook, you can go there. But it's not only getting to the big four. That's the ultimate goal, but you can start something on your own.
Yeah.
You can start something on your own. And internship, it's good, but nowadays you just need a machine and the access to the internet. You can build stuff on your own as long as you have time. And I have projects. If you are looking for a job remotely, I can't send you food, but I understand what it means. code for free.
I am down. I'm down for it.
But, you know, but as we are saying, we don't know where your strengths are. So I can't recommend you just based on your CV or the things you've done. But if I see like you've done like a full-scale software or a project that's even testing and stuff like that, so you need to build up your CV. It's not the amount of programming language that you know, but more like, you know, when you get to the actual day-to-day basis, you learn a lot of things. You talk about subversioning, using GitHub. How do you collaborate within teams? Which workflow you use? These are things that you don't get that much from university. You need to build upon. So these are things you can explore with just few programming language. You will be set for anything. So keep up the good work. And you on LinkedIn. I think I have you as a friend or connection. Just reach out.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm taking a lot of notes. I will specialize on something, and I'm going to be reaching out to some of you privately for opportunities. So thank you for creating this platform. I really appreciate all that you're doing, and I look forward to the cool things that we can achieve together.
We'll make sure that you'll be the first person for give a testimony for the platform, the usefulness of this platform.
Yes.
I'm going to hold you to that, Abdullah.
What?
I'm going to hold you to that.
Oh, okay. Hold it to you.
Yeah. But Michael is a great
It's gonna
example.
be a teamwork though. We can all push him, you know. It's gonna be a teamwork.
Well, Michael is a great example for how we as the leaders in the group to actually step up and be a mentor to the young ones that are coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions, anything else, any comment, additional? Michael, wait, I thought you were working at NASA Suites.
My contract ends in May.
Oh, okay, so it's a contract.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll hire you full time.
So I'm not a US citizen, so they cannot.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Sucks.
Oh, Michael, it's also good to know that. Okay.
Something will come up. It will happen soon anyway, right?
It will happen.
Yeah. This
So
is awesome.
I have a job for you. And that's based on your use case. You are in augmented reality. How can you change the Sierra Leone tourism? Because I know there are a lot of you know, historical buildings, historical places that I discussed this with someone. So if you are going on a tour, you want people to be able to understand the importance of that location. You can use augmented reality with the phone, not only by using the Oculus or whatever equipment. You can use the phone. Like when you scan this object of this building, you got a lot of information about that building. So that's something you can try. You know, it's if you know, just, you know, these are things you used to. I always say, there are a lot of use cases for Africa. You know, and we are out here wasting our time. That's how I see it. But yeah, we are already tied to some you know, maybe family or you know the standard of living and stuff like that. But there are a lot of things that can be done in Africa, despite the challenges, resources. But you can build some AR applications for Freetown or Sierra Leone. That's something, you know, you can explore, but I guess there's a market for it.
I think that's a great idea. Something like a virtual tour. I see some real estate companies doing that. They do virtual tours with the homes that they sell, and it's really good. I'll look into what it takes to do that on AR. There's like Spark AR. There's the Facebook Spark AR to build AR interfaces. I will look into that. Thank you so much for the.
So AR is very big as well. So this is the same thing we are talking about programming. When it comes to AR itself, it's big and diverse. So it's not just what you're doing in NASA, but you take AR from a mobile point of view, how you build application, and then that application runs on different AR platforms. So AR in itself, it's a very big topic in the modern technology. So that's something you can definitely explore if you fancy working with AR.
I think Musa or whoever just said that I do virtual tour in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Yeah, I was just listening in. I'm actually in Freetown at the moment, working on my company, which is actually focused on helping people manage their constructions. So helping the diaspora keep track of their builds over here in Sierra Leone and making sure things go safely, and actually use virtual tours to as a part of that offering. So I just posted an example that I built, like it's an anonymized example that I built for a client.
Well, it's really smooth. Let me see this.
So this is cool, but so you mean can this be used from an application point of view, or you just need to, you know, because how will this work with you? Do you have any accelerometer? If you are using this on a mobile device, will you be able to rotate the building by rotating the phone?
No, so this is loaded in using a third-party software. So for this particular third-party software, you just drag it around. I do the virtual tour with a 360 camera. For me, it's not, I'm not as focused on the let's say the technological bells and whistles as I am on solving particular problems for the users. So for me, it's just about giving them a more engaged view on what's happening within their property and solving their issues of trust and transparency. But certainly over time, we'll be looking to upgrade some of the also, you know, smoother experience aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael, I don't want to hijack your situation, so I just because
Awesome
the
start.
virtual
I
things
like
tours
it.
popped up. So, yeah.
Awesome start.
Michael, the last question for you. I've been in that situation where you are right now at the moment. I've been there. I may know that already. So, are you willing to go into any space in IT?
The first offer that I get, that's the first one I'm going into.
Okay. But what do you mean? What do you mean by going into any space in IT?
For instance, based on your status, right? If somebody say, "Oh, you know, maybe the company does not have like for software development or whatever," most of these companies, if you are more like an international student, you're gonna more find yourself getting a company that's willing to hire you as soon as possible in kind of like maybe tech support, IT tech support. Will you be willing to go into that kind of position? Or somebody say, just come to my company, you know, come and do help desk support work.
Yeah, totally. As long as it's some place that I can get my foot in the door, it's fine.
So also try to be gearing yourself to that. Try to be looking at some technical questions, how to answer those technical questions. Like, you know, it's not only about software development. For us as international students, we just gotta do what we gotta do to.
I don't know. I think with his expertise or whatever he knows right now can get him in the door as a coder or programmer or something in his area where he can at least grow rather than trying to take something.
You can enroll yourself as a freelancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of freelancing you can do.
Yeah.
Let me.
So that way he can excel in his field rather than just go work for the money. I don't know if you battle the money.
I mean, to step your foot at the door, you just gotta take whatever it comes your way. I mean, trust me. As
if the potential is there for him to go into that area, definitely.
Well, at the end of the day, I think it depends, right, Michael? I think this type of conversations, I will say, let's take it personal.
Yeah.
And you can talk to us one-on-one. Our contacts are here. Feel free to contact me, talk to me. Feel free to contact Abdullah or Aminata or each one of us here, as a matter of fact, and each one of us can share with you one-to-one how some of us overcame those obstacles,
Yeah.
and what we know about what is going on in the field right now, especially if you are constrained with the fact that you don't have a green card here or you don't have citizenship, right? It's different for someone who have a green card. It's different for somebody who have citizenship. It's different for somebody who don't have any of them, right? The situations are different, and we can talk to you, and each one of us can advise you and give you recommendations and tell you what we have seen out there. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to be left with you how much of this you want to do. All I can say is, regardless of what any one of us tell you, the freelancer world or the gig economy, it's out there. It's never going to go away. There is nothing wrong with you signing up on one of these freelancer platforms and take jobs from wherever and from whoever that are related to the skills that you have, and start making some money while you look for a permanent full-time job.
Yeah.
There is always nothing wrong to do that.
I'll sign up. I'll sign up for this Fiverr, this Upwork.
Yep.
Exactly. There are lots of them. There is Upwork, there is UpTotal, there is freelancer.com. There are a whole bunch of them. And right there, you'll be surprised. Facebook, the Google, all the big companies, pretty much every company hire from these sites these days. It's not even just small companies or individuals who wants to work on the project. It's very easy for you to also land a gig on some of these platforms that is full-time, but it's through the platform, right? It's full-time, not you and them. It's not between you and them. It's between you and the platform gets their commission. So try all those different options and you'll be surprised. You may not even want to even sit here at the end of the day, because if you get it right on some of these platforms, you could be sitting down in Freetown on the beach, enjoying and writing your code and making the same money you will make while you are in the US. I don't see anything that can stop that.
Like Lee is doing, yes.
Because I have seen that and I know people who do that. It's all left with you at the end of the day. Yeah.
Are there any rigorous timelines for these freelance
platforms?
Jobs?
Yeah. All I can tell you is on any one of these freelancer platforms, they care about who you are first. And you definitely need to showcase your portfolio. You need to create your portfolio on the freelancer platform. You need to showcase the work you have already done. You need to have specialization in specific areas. Some of them will require you can pay to promote yourself. Some of them you can just stick around for free. Some of them have tests that you can take on their platform to actually showcase your credentials in case you don't have any credentials you can showcase. And if you go through that process of creating a compelling portfolio on their platform and you take their exams on their platforms and pass those exams, most of them are free. The process starts with you showing what you already know, showing your portfolio, and based on that, they recommend some exam. You take the exam, you pass, your credentials are shown up, and you get your first gig. You land the first gig, you get a good review from that gig. That's it. The door is open for you. The rest now is really customer service, how well you deal with the jobs that you get. You do a good job, you do it on time, that person is happy, they write a review for you. That's the wall of the freelancer. The more good reviews you get, the more jobs you get. The faster you finish your work, your reviews go up, that percentage goes up, the more they recommend you. It's just based on your reputation, let me put it that way. And that reputation is talk nice, act nice, do what you say you're gonna do it on time, and be reasonable and be understandable and be professional. And the rest is history.
It sounds like a good route to take also.
Yeah.
Hey, Ernest.
That has nothing to do with papers.
Yeah. So, the industry is very, it's huge. There are a lot of things you can do and leverage. There, yes, not the background. What was name? Sorry, I have visitors always. So yeah, there are things you can start. You can try to do something by the side while you focus on something else. And UTest, I just shared it. It's also a place where you can actually test software or mobile applications, video games, and whatever. But the point is, even through testing, you can learn, and maybe you can get some. How do I say? You can get the interest of pursuing something from testing. So you can earn money from testing using UTest. I think they got I think they have this app loss testing for app applications. So this is one way. There are a lot of these services out there that you can enroll yourself. You can make your money by testing, getting to know software test software that are written by other developers. And with that also can help you, you can even out of those, maybe you get some idea or writing your own software. So this is also another way. You are free to reach out to me, or, if you need more on this kind of things, I can share with you.
Thank you for all the great resources, guys. I appreciate them. I'll check out UTest. We are connected on LinkedIn, right, Ernest?
I guess so.
Yes. I'll reach out to you. But this was a very productive day.
Awesome. Thanks everybody. Let's see. Oh, UTest. Okay, Ernest just share another link again.
UTest is for everyone, so
okay.
Not for all geeks, but if you are more like curious on, or you want to test any software related, from car manufacturers like Tesla, even, I don't know if Facebook uses it, but they are very good in providing test plans that it's used within the software development industry. So if you have some free time and you're looking for some extra bucks, then enroll yourself to UTest and test.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. And I'll be sharing some of these, I'll be sharing these links when I send an update about the meeting. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks, everybody. And thank you so much, Michael. I look forward to interacting with you more and maybe learn from you as much as I can. I just started learning HTML code due to Tamba's persistent of us trying to learn that thing. So I never thought I'd be doing HTML, but I'm trying to build a website, and I suck at it right now. So, but
I will teach you $50 an hour.
What?
Use Notes.
I will teach you $50 an hour.
And Michael is doing it for food. Why don't I just cook? We both eat, and then he teach me what he knows.
And cassava leaf.
See, there you go.
I'll teach you on one condition: if you're going to use Notepad.
Better, use pen and paper, right? Yeah, but
actually, Brian, I use Notepad++ and gedit.
I'm still comfortable with Notepad++. I started writing HTML code back in college in 2004 using Notepad. So,
wow.
How
did you know when you had bugs?
I just do my thing. It's schoolwork, bro.
he prints out the Notepad documents, and then he wraps it. Let me show you. He prints it out and it folds like this, and it becomes buggy.
As I said last week, it was Tamba introduced me to content management system, Drupal. So pretty much I was hard coding until I started using Dreamweaver. Back in college, students cannot use this launch to buy Visual Studio or Dreamweaver, trust me.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
Yeah, it's good to use the ID. It's good to use the IDs, but if you're starting off, sometimes it's good to just start the old manual way. Start on paper. Start with plain text, plain Notepad if you are on Windows, or plain Notepad++. Any one of those plain ones. And once you understand the syntax, if you want to speed up your work, you can then jump into the IDEs.
Mm.
But when you start with IDEs, you can become lazy very quickly. And
Exactly.
I like being lazy. Isn't that what
Yeah.
developers do?
Thank God I
That's
don't
why they
I'm a
automate
pretty
all this
lazy
stuff so they
developer
can be
myself.
lazy. Eh?
thank God I don't code anymore.
But isn't that what developers do? They automate
it's
stuff
good.
so they can be lazy.
It is good to be lazy. It is good to automate stuff, but the automation can fail sometimes. And when it fails, you have to go the old manual way. If you don't know the syntax, you're never gonna fix that problem in a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's why
That's the
that's why
whole
you
thing.
Google it. That's why you Google it. If you don't know
Well,
the syntax, you then put it into Google.
Google is good. Google is good, but I can tell you, even Google is not always right. You need to know how to find the right answer in Google, and which websites Google
That's
are going
true.
to show you that are reputable to give you the right answer. Otherwise,
Stack
you just
Overflow
gonna.
every time.
If I'm interviewing you and I ask you a question, you give me a Google answer, I will know.
No, if it's an
Because
interview,
before I ask you the
if it's
question,
an
before I
interview,
ask you the question, before I ask you the question, I will already Google it and I will know the answers,
of
the top
course.
5 that are going to come up or top 10. And as soon as you give it to me, I'm going to know you Google it. You did not learn how to do it.
If it's preparing for an interview, 100% can't go in with the Stack Overflow, the top Stack Overflow.
Exactly. So yeah, Stack Overflow answers, Google answers, they are good when you are really in the job and you know how to figure your way out, but don't take them for granted. Trust me, they can send you the wrong way very easily.
Michael, I won't recommend you to let Stack Overflow be your first point of solving a problem. I will recommend you to start by thinking and trying to break down the question before you reach Stack Overflow, because even on Stack Overflow, it's not everything there which is correct. There's an opinion based on what they are solving. It might not be related to your own configuration or maybe your own environment to see it, because some issues are related to environment, some coding issue are related to your setup. So yeah, make sure you understand what question you're going to ask or look for in Stack Overflow, because there's a flood of information on Stack Overflow. So yeah, make sure
there's a lot of bad answers on there as well, a lot of hacks that you probably don't want in like a production system.
Think about Stack Overflow like Wikipedia. Right? Not everything that is on Wikipedia is correct either, even though it has references, right? Garbage in, garbage out. If I put garbage book out and garbage references out, and you pick those references and you write about them on Wikipedia, you write about that on Wikipedia and you put those references, the whole thing is wrong, right? Until someone else figure it out one day and say this whole thing is wrong and then correct it. Same thing with Stack Overflow, same thing with everything online, pretty much. If you can put a website online, just imagine how easy it is for you to put your own website online. That is how easy it is for anyone to deceive you online with the wrong information. It doesn't mean they're an expert in that area, and you have no way to easily prove it unless you do your homework and you've been around for a while and you know people through their reputation. You know them by name. You can see the name of someone and you can tell their blog, see their blog and say, okay, this person is reputable in the industry. They've created this, they've created that. They know what they are doing, okay? If I see something from them, I can trust it. But other than that, the rest you have to learn how to filter the noise out of what you see online. That's all I can say.
I agree.
We need more mobile application software, and this is where Tamba and I have some disagreement, because I'm more like a mobile first.
More of a desktop person.
No, I am not more of a desktop person. I am more of an open source. I'm an open source advocate. So before I jump into writing any code, I look in the open source community first if there is already a solution. If there is no solution in the open source community, then I think about writing code. But if there is a solution in the open source community, that's usually my first route. But again, even when you come to mobile, instead of me thinking about starting with native mobile code, I always want to start with hybrid And once I figure myself out with the hybrid, then if I need to go native, I go native. Native is not my first option. I think that's where we have the disagreement with Ernest.
And what about even before you go hybrid? I mean, would you go responsive web? Because that's typically what I do.
Responsive web is a given, right? I can't build anything on the web today if it's not responsive. So that's not even optional. It's a must-have. Anything that goes on the web, it has to be responsive. And after responsive, the next option is hybrid. And after hybrid, the next option is native. Okay, my hybrid cannot solve all my problems. Now let me go native to make it super fast and super whatever. But I'm not going to start with native. That's just my.
Are you taking notes? Because there are a lot of discussions here that you might want to bring up outside the get to know your colleagues. And this is the forum. I think this is what was missing before Patrick opt out. And because we can have like session where we pick a topic, why native and hybrid type of development, or why maybe a front end, back end, so that we kind of have the scope around that topic. But it would be interesting to kind of have a discussion within this group on those different areas, because now we are running out of time and I have to leave now. Yeah. Nice to meet you guys. Kekura, this is my first time seeing you here and knowing you. I guess we'll catch up. I just added you on LinkedIn, and Ali, Mr. Ali, we are already linked on LinkedIn. So I have to leave now. It was nice to catch up with you guys.
Thanks, Ernest.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you, guys.
Right, thank you. And I know I've reached out to some of you individually, and I will reach out to others as well. But I know we mentioned a while back about the one-day conference. We're still interested in getting speakers, and it doesn't only have to be a presentation, but if you can do a demo, a workshop or demo of something, and just so we can make it lively that day and share more information, so a workshop, a demo, or presentation, whichever you're comfortable with. We're looking for volunteers from the SLinT members for that. And there'll be more information later. Tamba will be sharing that information about the conference later. But I just want to let you know that we're looking for speakers. So Michael, if that's something you might be interested in, I think it would be great.
Yeah, it could be a demo. It could be a demo of something you've worked on that's specific to Sierra Leone, or even not specific to Sierra Leone.
Technology.
It's 40 minutes. Yeah, it's a 40-minute thing.
All right. We'll see how that goes. I do have a lot of time on my hands now, so yeah. I'll be a lot more active in the group. I apologize, I haven't been this active for the last couple of years. So I joined when the group just started. Sarah reached out to me, and we were part of the initial meeting at somewhere, was it Swahili? The place at yeah, I think that was it, with like Tom and a bunch of other people as well. And that was my first meeting. And after that, I went AWOL and I came back. And thank you for accepting me, guys.
Oh, no, thanks for being here. I'm excited to see people are participating, and I'm seeing a lot of consistency. Brian, Ali, and Ernest, Moses, people are joining in regularly, Malik, so we need to interact more, and we need to share more information. There's a whole lot out there that we can learn from each other, that we can learn